Welcome back to Unstable. I am Jeff AKA Big Steck. And this is the 45th episode of Unstable. So, yeah, we just keep plugging along, man. 2 a week. And, we're still in victory week from the Jets game. Much needed win. Another very, very important game coming up to discuss. I got Justin with me, Kingmaker_DFF. How are you doing, brother?
Oh, doing pretty good, man. Glad to be back. Like I said, coming off a win, but that's over, and we got a massive test ahead of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a really good measuring stick. Obviously, they're coming up against the Lions, but first, do a little housekeeping. Since our last pod, we went up 4 subs, so we're at 73. We broke the 69. Now we're moving
The
the
running
push.
joke is over.
I'm making the next goal 169. Since y'all wanted to keep it there for so long, the goal is 169. Help us get there. Like, share, subscribe. If you're here watching this live, make sure you drop a comment. Anything you want to add, think we missed, how you think the game's going to go, whatever score predictions, drop them in there. We'd love to hear from you. We'd like to interact. Last episode was really fun. It was a good episode, pretty interactive. So it was fun. But I guess we'll get right into it. We're looking at injury reports. Looked at the Detroit Lions, didn't look too bad. Few corners on the report, but they were either limited or full, so didn't seem like anything, bad for them. I mean, obviously they lost Hutchinson on that horrible injury, but yeah, other than that, they seem to be relatively healthy. And same thing with the Colts. The only one not participating right now is Bernhard Raimann with a knee injury, which sucks. He's missed like two or three games now with this. So, unless if he logs a full day Friday, I'm assuming it'll be another missed game for Bernhard Raimann. But I think Goncalves did fine at left tackle. I think Bordolini's been playing good. And the Colts signed to their practice squad the Glow Man. Glowinski is back with the Colts at guard. So I'm not. I think he's still on the practice squad. I don't think he's been elevated yet, but maybe he'll be our starting guard in this game. So who knows? Everybody else: Kenny Moore, Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, Tyquan Lewis was designated to return and has logged 2 full practices. So looks like he'll be back in the rotation too. He was having a really good 2023, and I think he looked really good in the preseason. So it'll be a very nice addition to that edge locker room. So happy to see him back. Ibukum going down, that really sucked. So Tyquan Lewis, like I said, he was having a fine 2023. So hopefully he can kind of build back off of that coming off of injury.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads me into this. And I'm just going to get right to it. Colts are getting healthy. Michael Pittman's probably not playing 100% right now. Josh Downs, I'm going to kind of make an outlandish statement. Best wide receiver in the AFC South. I think so.
I don't think argue that. Yeah.
Colts have one of the finest offensive lines in football right now. A little bit shaky in some areas, but whose line isn't, but consistently one of the best. Adonai Mitchell emerging to be a really good receiver. Alec Pierce has surprised me. I was almost on we need to get rid of this guy. He's putting together a really nice campaign.
All right.
Anthony Richardson coming off probably one of his best days as a pro against the 7th-ranked defense. I don't think the Lions have as good of a defense as the Jets have. I don't think their front is as good, especially without Hutchinson. So I'm gonna say it. Trap game. They're sporting the Indiana Knights jerseys, coming off of a big win. Trap game. Now they, of course, all the talking heads right now. The Lions are favored 7.5 point favorites in this game, and the over under is 50.
I mean, look how they're playing.
I know most of the talking heads, the ESPNers, they're going to say, oh, it's 27-13, 30-17. Obviously, the Colts are going to have to put up points to win this game. Justin said, but just before we went live, they're an offensive juggernaut, man. They have a great 2-headed back system. Both of them are extremely productive. Seems like every single game they're both getting at least a touchdown each. The Colts have struggled against the run at times. But Man, this just has that feeling to me. I'm not saying, go to MGM right now and put 100 on a trap game, but this just screams it to me. What about you, man? It just has that feeling.
Yeah, I mean, with the way our offense looked last week, hopefully we can keep that momentum going forward into a kind of a shell defense of what it was at the beginning of the season. But I like the Lions defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn. A lot of Texans fans will recognize that name. He does a lot of good things with that defense. And with them having some injuries, of course, the biggest one, losing Aiden Hutchinson, he's been able to still be decent, but I don't think this defense is one that we should be afraid of. If our offense continues, which look at our passing options are amazing. And then we still have Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs in the league. So I don't see why we shouldn't be able to score points. I wouldn't say score points at will, but I don't see why we wouldn't be able to score points and keep it close.
Yeah.
And on the flip side of that, their offense is really good, but our defense is really good. I mean, I say really good. Our defense is good, especially our defensive line. So if our defensive line can create havoc with their offensive line, which is really good. I think they're like the best offensive line in football right now, but our defensive line is pretty good. So it should be a pretty close game. I think both teams are going to put up some numbers, and it's going to come down to which defense is going to perform better. I think
I feel like this is really going to come down to Gus Bradley. Like, is he going to keep mixing it up like he has been the last few games, or is he going to go back to that first few games where all he did was rush forward? Because if that's what you're going to do against this Lions offensive line, Goff is going to have all day. These running backs are going to take over the game, and Goff is going to be able to do whatever he wants. So he's going to have to mix it up. With Tyquan Lewis coming back, you still have Latu, obviously. Kwity Paye is surging. Like, he got hurt a little bit there in the middle of the season, but it seems like the Colts are getting healthy even before their bye week, which obviously late in the season. They're getting healthy at a perfect time to make a push for this.
Yeah.
And now I think they were like 27, 28% chance to make the playoffs. If they beat the Lions, I'm not saying, they're a lock for the playoffs, but anything can happen. But they got to get put into that conversation.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, especially if things keep rolling the way they're going. I mean, good momentum, but I don't want to get ahead of myself and go crazy just over one good performance that we had. Yeah. I want to see how they're gonna react to getting smacked in the mouth by the Lions. Because let's face it, let's be real here. We're fans, but let's be real about it. The Lions are no joke.
No.
I mean, I think I read this is the best start they've had since 1934, I think.
It's not surprising.
I mean, 9-1. They were in the NFC Championship game last year. They didn't lose a lot of pieces. They're looking really good. I mean, their offense is so hot right now, to put it for one of Ben Stiller's best movies.
Oh yeah. What I like about this team, the Colts defense, they let up a ton of yards. They let up a lot of they've let up a lot of rushing, a lot of passing yards. But they're very much a bend don't break. When it gets into that red zone, they generally hold teams to field goals. I mean, every team has let teams punch it in the end zone at times, but they've held teams to field goals pretty often. And I'm not saying they're going to be able to do that a lot against the Lions. Again, they're coached really well. They have a lot of playmakers. It's almost unfair at times. And even I think on this AFC South show, I said with that Lions-Jaguars game, I knew it was going to be a blowout. I predicted a blowout. I think I scored it like 31-13 was my prediction. And I only said that because at what point are the Lions going to lay off the gas? Turns out they never did. And it was
Dan Campbell is not the type to do that.
No. I mean, he seems like a college coach at heart. Stop us. And if you can, we're just going to keep scoring. And we're gonna get ridiculous with the plays. We're gonna start having linemen run wide receiver routes. We're gonna have linemen throw it to other linemen. It doesn't matter. We're gonna have fun with it. That's the kind of coach he is. So we can't let him get comfortable like that.
No.
It's man, they're such a good team. And it, like I said, I think this again is a game that's going to come down to the trenches. Now, I love what Jalen Jones has done. I think I think he was the highest graded Colts player in PFF and against the Jets. I think he was even like rated higher than Anthony Richardson, who had nice day. I mean, he had a fumble, but he had a really good day. But he was the highest rated player. Jalen Jones is having a really nice. We keep talking about him and can't talk about him enough. He's put together a really nice season. He's going to have a really good test. I mean, Amon St. Brown, another one of the league's top receivers. And, of course, I think they have one of the better tight ends. I wouldn't say one of the best, but he's a really good tight end. And
I would. Sam Laporta is phenomenal.
I mean, Kelsey's having a shit season, but, like, you got the Kittles up there, you know.
He's one of these guys are on the way out. Kittle's, I think Kittle's doing well just because of Ayuk being gone. But, I mean, that's more of like the general football, fantasy football show. But yeah, no, Laporta is the future at tight end for this league.
He's really good.
Yeah,
him and Brock Bowers, and I kind of wish the Colts had a tight end like one of these guys, but
yeah,
maybe next year. Boy, are we getting tired of hearing that? Maybe next year. No, this is
right. Stop kicking the can down the road. Let's make something happen now.
Now,
all right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this game, though. Like, if Anthony Richardson can carry that momentum, that had to be a huge confidence boost. Like, I mean, he came into the season, like, the best game he had up to that point was week 1, where he had that huge pass downfield to Alec Pierce. And then there's like 40% completion, and it was ugly at times. Bench for Flacco. And then all of a sudden he comes out against the Jets, one of the better defenses in the league, and puts up a really good day. Really good day. I'm hoping to see that carry, just to see consistency. I hope they score more touchdowns than field goals. Like that, I didn't feel good about it being 13-0. I certainly didn't feel good about it going in starting the second half, 13-7.
Yeah.
Like it would have been nicer to have 17-7, 17-0. And they're going to have to build a lead like that against the Lions, because they're going to have, if the Colts ever have momentum, at some point Detroit's going to get it. And I think they're capable of scoring much faster than the Colts, because the Colts should be that ground and pound team. They did it a lot against the Jets. It was one of the first times I've seen them. I think they ran the ball, 34, 35 times in that game. It's one of the first games I've seen rushing totals like that, not yardage wise, but carries wise. And they controlled the clock. That's what you got to do against the Lions. Keep their offense off the field. Their weak suit is the defense. Keep them on the field. Have to sustain drives.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care how you do it. Be nice if it was through Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, against this defense that has these holes like we talked about, they're gonna have to get points. You can't have any of this stuff leave the field without points. If you get turnovers, you got to make points out of them. Mm-hmm. I mean, their offense, we have to keep up. Okay, there is no option. Shane Steichen is going to have an amazing game at play calling, and he's going to have to coach to his players' strengths.
Mm-hmm. Open that playbook up, man. You're going to have to get creative in this one.
Hey, we say it all the time. Let your athletes be athletes.
Yep. Yeah, I think he did. I think he did pretty good with what he was doing with Anthony Richardson. I'd like to see him run a little bit less between the tackles, but they were working. I mean, they were good downhill runs. They were getting 4, 5, 6 every time he did it. And those, I mean, you'd rather get those from your running back, not so much your quarterback, who has been oft injured. But I mean, hey, it got the win, so it's hard to bitch too much about it.
In the league, that's all that matters. Get that W. Yeah. That's all that matters.
Yeah. And I think he showed that he can take hits, that he can run in a way that protects himself and also is effective. I mean, I did a little video. I think I posted it to TikTok. It was the second run where he led with his shoulder, blasted over that Jets defender, and his head popping. He might have gotten a concussion. I don't know, man. The way that Anthony Richardson slammed into that dude and his head popped back, I did a little reel of that on TikTok, and I was like, oh, that was it. It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up. He got barrel
Well,
over.
and I know you hate to see your franchise quarterback take off and run. I mean, it just makes you cringe, right?
Mhm.
But let's not disregard the fact that Anthony Richardson's built like that dude's stout. Okay, he's no Jaden Daniels out there. Okay, we've seen him truck a few guys in this league.
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying I want that to happen all the time, but if he takes off and runs, I'm only halfway scared about it because I know he can give a hit just as well as he can take a hit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say let's hold him back. I mean, if the kid's gonna use his natural ability to go out there and make a play, man, I say let him. But as long as you're coaching him on the side, like, hey, be smart about this. Don't take unnecessary hits, okay? Because you still got to worry about your longevity of the game. You ain't trying to be like Tua out there, freaking like I got tuna fish brain. You know, like you don't want that in your life.
Yeah. He there's a couple of things that Anthony Richardson said, in regards to that play. He said, man, I don't even care what happens. I'm getting in the end zone. I don't care how. I'm getting the touchdown. And that's the mentality that you want any of your players to have, really. Like, I don't care what happens. It was a design run. I'm getting a touchdown. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Anything else on the field doesn't matter. I'm getting a touchdown. I wish he'd err on the side of caution a little bit. Like, if it's a dead play, then admit that it's dead. But I like that mentality, and he knew he was scoring on that play, and man, he let the defender pay for it.
After the old tap out debacle, he's got a lot of ground to cover to regain a lot of respect in a lot of the players' eyes. Because we talked about it in a previous episode, even though just because the players don't come out and say that, hey, we didn't appreciate that, that doesn't mean they don't have it here or they're not talking about it amongst themselves in the locker room. Because we know as competitors, they don't want their leader. This is their captain of their team, the face of their franchise in the future, to be tapping out saying, oh, I'm tired. Like, no. So now, hopefully with this Lions game, he can use this to plant his flag and say, hey, look, that was a fluke. That'll never happen again. I'm the guy.
Yeah, and I mean, what do you want the players to say? You're never going to see them come out, yeah, man, he sucks. I don't want him to be our quarterback. Like, what do you want these players? Of course, they're going to say, yeah, it happens.
They're going to be professional. That's never been the Indianapolis way, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
we're going to
that's kind of like guy. They're
never going to say. They're never going to out and say, yeah, this guy sucks, and yeah, he should be benched. They're not going to say. They're going to, okay, well, the coach has made a decision, and we stand with the quarterback. That's what they're going to say. So
yeah. But like I said, after last week, I think he's on the right track of regaining that respect that he lost from his teammates and the fans as well. Because let's not forget, the fans can have a voice. Like owners listen to fans a lot of times, because you got to think, if the fans aren't happy, then they're not buying your merch. They're not going to games. They're not doing that.
Yeah, and this game with the Lions, I think. Detroit travels, man. It's only like 5 hours away from Detroit. So if
such a historic franchise.
If this stadium fills up with Lions fans and basically becomes a home game, like that's sending a statement to Irsay, to Ballard, to whatever. Like, dude, if they lost to the Jets, you can assume that that's probably what would have happened. Hopefully the Colts fans show out. They didn't sell off all their tickets. And get loud, man. Like, if you're there, be loud.
Yeah. After a couple beers, the light blue starts to look like royal blue, so you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Yeah, but
let's face it, Irsay likes to have a cocktail or two.
Definitely. I mean, you don't want to be on defense in the stadium be roaring. I mean, vice versa.
Right.
Sorry. Peyton Manning trained this crowd to shut the hell up when they're on offense. You don't want a roaring crowd when they're on defense. You don't want it silent when they're on offense. Like, come on, like Colts fans, get loud.
I thought that was a basic knowledge thing of football, but you'd be surprised, man. My kid's little league football game, one of the coaches, when they're on offense, one of the coaches was like, "Oh, get loud, get loud." I'm like, no, dude. It's like, not on offense. Do that on defense.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I was shocked. I thought that was just a basic. Everybody knew that shit, but I guess I was wrong.
There's even against the Jets. Like, the Jets finally picked up their first down late in the first half, and the crowd was like, "Yay!" And I'm like, I mean, yeah, I mean, they wound up scoring a touchdown on the drive, but they kept cheering and getting loud and all excited, like basically being sarcastic because they finally got a first down. But like, that's you shut up. Like, they're finally moving. You don't want to drown out what they're trying to do on offense. But
exactly.
you thought it was common sense, but it's not so common. And man, I just a flashback. I just remember Peyton Manning and Lucas Oil, and when the big play would happen and the crowd wouldn't shut up. Oh man, how angry Peyton Manning would get. He did it in Denver. Like, there was a big play, I think, to Demaryius Thomas. The crowd was roaring, and he's looking at it.
Y'all shut the hell up.
Shut the fuck up. Like, man, you got to be quiet, man.
Sheriff says shut up.
Offense,
shut up.
On defense, get loud.
Yeah,
man.
only on offense. Like, exactly.
This is like I don't want to say smooth sailing for the rest of the season for the Colts. It's the NFL. No win's easy. But this is easily the toughest game that they have remaining on their schedule. Colts obviously have issues with Jacksonville. I'm not sure if Trevor Lawrence will play again. I don't know why they'd bring him back out, honestly.
No,
like, it makes no sense. Who knows?
You shut him down.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Kirk on IR. ETN's playing horrible. Yeah. I mean, well, you wouldn't do that. But
I would hope that game is a game the Colts can win. But they always give the Colts fits. Haven't beat them in a couple of years. And it's the last game of the season. They're already talking about bringing out the clown suits again. So we don't want another repeat of the Carson Wentz clown game where
my goodness.
Is it in Jacksonville again too?
That was 2 years ago. So yeah, the last one should be in Jacksonville.
Oh shit. So hopefully it's not another repeat clown game when the Jaguars keep the Colts out.
No, I don't see how if the Colts keep playing this way, I don't see how they have that issue.
Oh man.
But then again, like you said, it's the league, man.
I hope it's not another scenario like that. But beyond that, I mean, I think they have another game with the Titans, the Broncos. I'm missing one. I can't remember. I'm not looking at the schedule right now. But I would say beyond this game, the Broncos is probably the last hard game the Colts have.
Yeah.
So it should be an easy remaining schedule. And man, if they can get to 500 after this Sunday,
for sure.
I think all the cards are on the table, man. Like, it's up to them to get into the playoffs at that point. So I know it's a little premature to be talking about playoffs. I mean, they can lose this game and drop to 5-7, and it looks
playoffs.
Playoffs. So one game at a time. You don't want to look too far ahead. But this should be a good one, man. I can't see. I mean, I don't want to see it. Can happen, but I don't want to see the Colts losing this game 52-6, 49-10. Like, it's the Lions, so it could.
Yeah. Well, that's like I said. Now you cannot miss scoring opportunities against the Lions because their offense is going to come right back on the field and score another 7.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, you got to sustain drives. You got to give your defense a breather. Their offense is so good, so like, there's so many elements to their offense of what they do, and they're very creative. Like, I think Shane Steichen could learn a few things from watching the Lions offense operate. But here's the thing that I was looking at.
Ben Johnson. Fire Steichen to get Ben Johnson, man.
Oh, the Jaguars. Jaguars fans are like, oh, Ben Johnson, he's going to come here. I'm like, he's going to want to take the worst job right now in the NFL.
Yeah, go from the best job to the worst job?
I'd stay as a coordinator if that's my option.
Yeah. I mean, at least he'll probably get a top 2 pick. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, brother.
Oh, no, you're good. The Lions this year, though, they haven't faced, if I'm not mistaken, like a dual threat quarterback like Anthony Richardson. I think week 1 they lost to the Buccaneers, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously with Baker Mayfield. Let me look at their schedule real quick and let me see who they are.
Yeah, I mean, Baker's a good dual threat, but he's not what he used to be. He's actually become more of a pocket passer these days.
Okay, yeah. So the Lions beat the Rams by 6. They lost to the Bucs by 4. They faced the Cardinals. Was that Kyler Murray? Yeah. They beat Kyler Murray, so I guess, but Kyler Murray's like 4 feet tall.
Yeah.
They beat them, beat the shit out of the Seahawks, clobbered the Cowboys, squeaked by the Vikings, clocked the Titans, Packers, Texans, and then Jacksonville. Yeah. So I don't think they've really faced a quarterback quite like Anthony Richardson this year. I mean, I don't think there are too many. Maybe, Lamar Jackson maybe is a better runner, maybe a smarter runner, I guess, than Anthony Richardson at this point. Better passer. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to. I think Lamar has the better arm, but his accuracy is what's been hurting him this season. Wow. But he has a bigger arm than Lamar, but I think Lamar is a much better runner, like smarter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the Lions haven't faced him, so there's not a lot of quarterbacks like Anthony Richardson, and I think the most mobile quarterback they faced is probably Kyler Murray, and it was a 7-point game. I really like Marvin Harrison Jr., but I just don't think there's a whole lot in Arizona that instills fear outside of.
I mean, that was weird because the only time they really passed the ball a lot was when DeAndre Hopkins was there.
Yeah. So the line, and you could tell that the Jets, when you watched a lot of their defense, obviously they were keying in on Jonathan Taylor, but they also had to spy Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
A lot of times that those linebackers stayed really close to the line because of Anthony Richardson. Left a lot of guys in one-on-one. A lot of those passes over the middle to Anthony to Alec Pierce and Downs. It's because those linebackers never took that. They only stepped a foot back whenever the ball's already in the air. That's too late. So they had almost a double spy on Anthony Richardson just because of him and Jonathan Taylor. So yeah, the ground game with Taylor didn't really do shit, but they allowed all those passing plays. So that's a lot of what was missing with Joe Flacco on the field, and that's something that the Lions, I don't know if they had the talent across their defense. It might look very similar to what the Jets did. I think the Jets have a better defense than the Lions. I'm just saying. I think it might be more the same. This could be.
As of right now, yeah, no, I agree with you. The Lions defense is a shell of what they were 4 or 5 weeks ago. I mean, they've lost. I mean, Anzalone is better than people think on that defense. Now, Jack Campbell's good. He's got a lot of tackles right now. So he's got 78 total tackles on the season.
Yeah.
Jack Campbell's, not a bad player. But losing Hutchinson and then losing Anzalone, I think those are your two better, shorter defensive players. But their corners are beatable. They're good, but they're beatable, especially with our receivers, for sure.
For sure. And like I said, Adonai Mitchell, I think he's emerging as a playmaker. It seems like he dropped a couple passes, so he kind of had that confidence shot. He's not a number. He's probably number 4 right now on this roster, and so he's not getting a lot of target opportunities. But it seems like he's building momentum. He had a great catch. I can't remember who it was against, but he had a great catch. Maybe the Vikings. He had a great catch on the sidelines, and then it seems like since then he's been far more reliable. Big play, big play, big play. Not a lot of them, but enough. That big play, 33 yards, almost a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting better for him. Josh Downs.
Yeah, he's getting close to where he's gonna, because he surprisingly enough, he doesn't have a touchdown this year.
Yeah.
But the way that his progression is going, like you said, man, he's right there. I would expect an Adonai Mitchell touchdown this week.
Yeah. And Josh Downs, we said it at the beginning of the podcast. I would say right now he is the most consistent and right now the best receiver in the AFC South. And there's a strong argument for Brian Thomas Jr., but I think there's a consistency issue there. And people could say Calvin Ridley, he has been wildly inconsistent, so I don't know how you can make that argument. There's no one.
I think Josh Downs is definitely taking over as the alpha on our team.
Yeah,
and you got to think he has only played 9 games so far.
Yeah,
so he's a little behind the curve, and on top of missing some games, he also is suffering from some shitty quarterback play. So, which is ironing out, so we can look forward to the future. And Josh Downs, man, he's dominating right now.
Yeah, he's already got 4 touchdowns. He's had some good catches. He has 4 touchdowns, almost 600 yards if I'm not mistaken. He missed a week or two. And and I looked at the top receivers, and he's not far behind Brian Thomas Jr. as far as receptions go. So
yeah, I mean, Downs
and
already
yards.
got 50 receptions in his 9 games
Yeah,
with bad quarterback play.
I don't know, man. I really like what this receiving core has done. I'd like to see more out of Pittman. I mean, you would expect your number one to have more touchdowns than see 1 or 2. It's not a lot.
Well, I mean, sometimes you use your number one as a decoy. You know, they're gonna double you. They're gonna play a man over top shadow. I mean, yes, I'm with you. Like, we want to see Pittman. I mean, you paid the man. Let's see the man get some points, right? But man, if he has to play the decoy in order for our other 3 badass options to get a chance to score points, I'm kind of okay with that. But as a fan, it sucks because you went and bought a Pittman jersey and you want to see your boy do well. But when you got your rookie starting to come on, Josh Downs, who I loved last year coming out, becoming your alpha right now. I mean, because let's face it, Pittman is still the number one. Just because the numbers don't show it, he's 15 receptions behind Downs. He's still our number one guy. Like, when you think, oh, Colts receiver, you're like, oh, Michael Pittman Jr. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I know, I think since preseason, he's probably been battling that back injury. So it's I would say that it's hampered his performance. But when you have a number one, just signed a new contract, and his best game is versus the Steelers for 113 yards. Beyond that, his number one game was against October 20th against the Dolphins. He had 63 yards. Like, I'm sorry, that's not what you'd expect out of a number one receiver. So no. I think out of being critical, and I'm not saying he's not getting separation. They're doubling him. Bad quarterback. There's a lot that comes into play with this. He has made some tough catches. He has taken those hits. He has gotten some key first downs.
Yeah.
It's just he's getting all the attention, and now that, like, there's the emergence of Josh Downs, Alec Pierce has been very consistent. Hopefully those numbers start to bump back up for Pittman. And this week it's a huge opportunity.
Right, exactly. Because these are not world beater corners.
Yeah.
So Pittman can go out there, and because Aaron Glenn, being a former defensive back, he's going to understand coverage scheme, okay, better than most. So he's going to understand, okay, we don't just have one guy we got to cover here. So he's got lack of options. I mean, I'm sorry to say this, but he doesn't have a lot of good defensive backs on that team to use. So he's going to have to figure some stuff out. And I don't think he's going to be able to do it against all these options that we have. So it's kind of pick your poison. You know, do you want to play zone, play man? Do you want to double Pittman? Do you want to shadow Downs? Like, you're going to have to figure that stuff out. And we're only going to benefit from that. The only thing that we have to get right is Anthony Richardson is going to have to find the open man. There's going to be multiple. You've just got to pick one, calm down, and make that throw. Get that easy completion.
Yeah, there's been a few times he's missed that wide open receiver running the play that probably goes for at least a first down, and he's just a little bit trigger happy, just lofts it a little bit too high. It's frustrating. Like, it was a really good 2-point conversion on that throw to Mo Alley Cox. It was just like a fingertips length out of it. Like, it was almost there. I think that was a little bit better of a throw than people give credit for.
Yeah.
But Mo Alley Cox is also like 6'6" or something stupid.
That's a massive man. You can't overthrow a 6'5" guy.
Right. You shouldn't have overthrown that. So just a little less touch. And I think sometimes maybe a little more touch. Like, there was that pass. Obviously, Pittman's he got hurt, whatever, with that game. He got hurt again when the game with Flacco, missed the game. Then Anthony Richardson's back. Richardson threw a rocket at him, and I don't think he was like, oh, fuck, I forgot a different quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, he just clamped his hands like a second too late and, went right through. But it's like that's a pass that Pittman normally picks out of the air. So I think it's just that from quarterback to quarterback, different play style, missing a week. And maybe a little touch on that would have been okay for Anthony Richardson to put on, just a little bit. Like, you didn't need to throw it that fast. That thing was rocketed at him. But
I would like to see us bring in a quality quarterback coach, or even be like, hey man, make a phone call to your Hall of Famer and say, "Hey, can you come in for can you come in for a couple of days and talk to this kid?" Like,
get Andrew Luck in the building for a few days.
Right, he's a team guy. You don't think he'll come in, even if he's not, even if you say, "Hey, I don't want you to throw a ball," just talk to him, give him some pointers. Go I think brunch. Peyton would do that, man. I mean, I know he's a busy dude. Like Peyton's all over the world, man. But we've got options. We've had greats, like you said, Andrew Luck, man. I mean, take a little break from the book club and come help a brother out. You're still the horseshoe, bro.
Just go have some brunch. I mean, you took your bonus. Just come in and talk to the guy for an afternoon. I'm just saying, you got paid all those millions of dollars that we let you keep. Just come and talk to Anthony just for a few hours.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
I mean, in the offseason, hey, fly Anthony down to Houston or wherever Andrew Luck's living now. Like, do that. Say, hey, go throw some balls, listen, take notes, shut up.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, but I think this will be a good game. I don't. Okay, I hope that it doesn't turn into a blowout. It's the Colts haven't been blown out all year, except maybe the Bills game. Being realistic, they lost that game by 17. It was kind of a bullshit touchdown at the end of the game, but it was only 10 points at the end of the day, so they haven't really been blown out by anybody yet. I hope it isn't this game. Oh, Doug Grimlin, he's catching us on the back end of the show.
I mean, if we're only if we're only expected to lose by a touchdown,
7.5.
I mean, that means. Excuse me. That that tells me that they're still expecting it to be close. All right. So, but the points aren't supposed to be real high though. I mean, over under's 50 and a half. That's according to what ESPN bet. That's what they're expecting.
I looked at what I got it off was MGM, so I'm sure they're pretty similar though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, most of them usually aren't too far apart, but I mean, so we're looking at a handful of touchdowns in the whole game, but that just still, brings back my point to you've got to take advantage of turnovers if you get them, okay, and then you've got to take advantage of taking the 3 points. Okay, if it's 4th and 1 and you're in the 40 or in the 30, just kick the field goal, man. Like, take that easy points because you may not get them again. You may not get them back again.
Yeah. So especially in this game, you got to put up points whenever you can. And like you were saying, a lot of times they've gotten turnovers, done nothing with it. Against the Jets, they had them. I went over this stat. They were 3 and outs, 9 plays for 9 yards, and I think they had like 10 points to show for it. When your defense is that dominant, you got to reward them. You got to build a bigger lead than going 13-7 at the half. Like you got to do better. Let me see here. Hold on.
Especially the defense comes out because this Lions offense is otherworldly right now. This Lions offense is nuclear.
Look at this smart ass. Hey man, he was one of the top quarterbacks in the league, man. What do you want me to say?
You want the guy tapped out of a career to talk to the guy tapped out of a game. That's funny.
Hey, we said Peyton.
I mean, they have something in common, I guess. If you look at it that way. But I think Andrew Luck had a reason to tap out. They fed that kid to the wolves, and they didn't build around him. At least Anthony Richardson doesn't have an excuse because he's got all the weapons you could ever ask for. Andrew Luck on this team, man, forget about it.
Yeah, the line is one of the better lines. Having Jonathan Taylor, I couldn't imagine what Andrew Luck could do with this team. It's ridiculous.
It'd be nasty.
It make like sometimes you know that meme where the guy's looking at the picture crying to it, the frog or whatever. It's like that. Sometimes it's like, what could Andrew Luck do with this team?
Oh yeah, or the Wolverine one where you look at the picture. Yeah. Like just looking at that awesome offensive line.
What could be? Yeah. Hopefully Anthony Richardson is the new guy, and we can finally put all this quarterback carousel to bed. He's going to have to be more consistent. He's going to have to string together more games like the Jets game together. Because if he reverts back to 40% completion in this game, and he can't have inconsistent play like that. So
no, especially going up against his defense like we talked about.
Yeah.
I mean, but I don't think we should have a problem getting to Jared Goff. I mean, if you look at what's going on, like Kwity Paye's doing really good as far as sacks. I think he's at like 5.5 sacks or something like that.
Let me see
we'll have it down. Quiddy Pay, yeah, 5.5 sacks,
5.5,
and then seven tackle for losses. So
yeah.
he's getting to the quarterback. I mean, and then, gosh, man, like, so the Lions have a double-headed monster at running back, which is, gosh, I don't think we've seen anything this nasty since Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman for the Falcons. That Mike Shanahan offense with the Falcons, and gosh dang it, there's just you can start both of them in fantasy every week. I mean, it's stupid. Actually, in one of my dynasty leagues, one guy does start both of them every week, but we're gonna have to shut down that running game and you're gonna have to let Nick Cross, Jalen Jones, you're gonna have to let them guys in the secondary, let them go ahead and handle their business. Now, let's face it, Amon-Ra St. Brown is amazing. Okay, he's not gonna be stopped easily. Okay,
Hopefully, Jalen Jones can.
Hopefully, Jalen Jones. We'll see how that goes out because we've seen plenty of times where these super alpha receivers, there's just a corner that not really known just holds them in check and no one can figure it out. It doesn't make sense, but for some reason they're just held in check all game.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully that's one of the situations and that's the case. I'm not gonna hold my breath on that, but we can't disregard the other players. We talked about Sam Laporta, who I think is one of the best tight ends that's gonna be for the next 8 years, and then Jamison Williams, who has unworldly speed. He's having like a season kind of like AD where he should be doing better with all his athletic ability, but for some reason it just isn't being put together. Not to say it can't, because Jared Goff, the reemergence of Jared Goff is exciting to watch.
Yeah. Hopefully though we can force him into another 5-pick game. That'd be nice.
That would be good. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. That's where Quiddy Pay and D-Buck and Latu need to really like get on that ass and let Jared Goff know, like, hey, bro, like, we're here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be the biggest thing in the receiving game. But that double-headed running game, our defensive line is going to have to stop them boys.
Yeah.
Because you got both of them. So it don't matter who they put in. You got to get them.
In this game, I'd probably give a touchdown to both of their backs, which seems to be what they're doing, and probably a third to Amon-Ra St. Brown. I feel like he'll. Okay. I don't know if he'll go for over 100, but I feel like he'll get a score on him because this secondary is.
Yeah. Well, I know all the fantasy players who drafted Sam Laporta out there. They want to see him get a touchdown. I mean, I want it too. Don't get me wrong. I drafted him high, but yeah, I'm with you. St. Brown, the kid's just so good. I mean, he can get open, and then what he can do with the ball after the catch is amazing. So it's gonna be such a test for our defense.
I wanted to talk about this real quick on Anthony Richardson. They do those angry runs on whatever morning I think it is.
Oh yeah.
They do the Anthony Richardson won the angry runs. Like he
trucked that guy though.
He smoked his ass.
Man, I kind of wish we had a clip of that. That'd be awesome to show because
it's on
he dropped that shoulder and just blew his ass up.
Let me see if I can pull it up on here on my thing. I put a reel on TikTok. I made a
and that goes back to what I'm saying. I mean, look, he's getting recognition for that. He can do it. You don't want your franchise quarterback to do that, but he can if he has to, right? But the key thing is if he has to, right?
I hope it's the first. No.
Texans fan. That explains some of the comments. Yeah. Let's watch this run and look what Anthony Richardson can do. Yeah, because it's very impressive to show his athleticism.
Let me see here. Put it back and pause it real quick. Man, I hate this player on here. Yeah, it doesn't let me pause it. There we go.
So I think somebody else that shouldn't be. Oh, you got it? Okay.
Yeah, let me see. Screen share. Yeah, there we go. It's just going to be half the screen, but that's fine.
Yeah, I remember seeing this, and I was just like, oh.
Yeah, that's even the thumbnail that I put. I think this is the one that won the angry. He stiff arms that guy, and then boom.
Drop that shoulders.
Oh, you can see his head snap back and everything. Oh, it's beautiful.
Well, and there's been a couple more throughout the season though. Like I remember there was one specific on the sideline. I can't remember what team we were playing, but it was on the sideline, and he was going to get that extra yard, and he did the same thing. Dropped that shoulder and just blew him up and knocked
almost
his ass, knocked him on the
identical.
ground.
Almost identical touchdown plays. He trucked someone both times to get there. It was nice. It was good to see. And he did hurt both times. So. but yeah, I think it's a good time as any to get into score predictions. I'm gonna let you go first. I'm gonna let you go first on this one. I got a whole scenario painted out of how I want to lay it out. So I'll let you go first.
So I definitely think that it's going to be within one score. So I do have to agree with the bettors on this. I mean, I hate to say it because I know Colts fans are going to be mad at me. The fan in me says it's going to be 28-21 for the Colts, but the real in me says it's going to be the opposite for the Lions.
Yeah.
But if it gets out of hand, it's because our defense softened up.
Yeah. So my scenario, the way that I see this playing out, I said 3 touchdowns, 2 to the backs, 1 to Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think they get 2 more field goals because the Colts typically tighten up in the red zone. So I'm going to say that the Lions score 27. And I'm also going to say for the second straight week, Anthony Richardson leads a late fourth quarter drive to win the game.
Ooh,
I'm going to say that the Colts win it 31-27. They're going to have to score points. I'm going to say they were down 27-24 late in the fourth, and he marches them down for another touchdown. They could settle for a field goal. No. They get the win at the end of the game for a second straight fourth quarter comeback drive. Don't put money on it. I'm not going to be financially responsible, but that's what I think happens.
Yeah. Don't, if you go out and put and bet money on what we're saying, that's on you.
That's on you.
Disclaimer right now. We're not telling you to do
on you. I will agree. I think Jonathan Taylor has himself a nice day, and I think they're able to do that. The Gremlin thinks way otherwise. It's either 51-17. God damn.
Yeah.
Or 20.
Well, he said earlier, like, either you're gonna get dog walked or you're gonna win by a field goal. I mean, I don't think he's wrong. I don't think that's wrong.
Honestly,
like I said, the defense gets soft. The Lions' offense is not going to stop. I'm just going to be real right now. Our defense could be top flight. The Lions' offense is not going to stop.
I could easily see a scenario where it's like 35-17 Lions. I don't think that the Colts defense would get dog walked that bad.
No, 50 was a little extreme. Yeah.
Like I can't because they
don't have don't do us like that.
Like they put up 52 on Jacksonville, but they got fucking Mac Jones at quarterback. Like he's like one of the worst. I'm sorry. Like he's looked fucking terrible in this film.
Former Heisman candidate. Put some respect on that name.
It's college, man.
I'm joking.
I don't think they're going to get dog walked. I could see like 35-7. I could definitely see that happening. I don't want
I think 51's a little extreme, but hey, he's a Texans fan, so in his heart, he wants us to get our butt whooped.
But I also think 23-20. Like I completely respect the field goal prediction. I really do. I could definitely see that, but I do think it'd be a little bit higher scoring. I don't see the Lions getting held to 20 either. Like
no, I mean 2 good offenses. Well, okay, 1 nuclear offense and one offense getting their crap together, but both defenses are not world beaters. Yeah. So that usually spells for a lot of points.
Yeah. Oh, this could be one of those weird fucked up games where it's like 9-6.
Right. How is that going to make sense?
But yeah, that's my prediction. Okay, let me see one more comment before we wrap it up. Yeah, but how will AR handle a beating like that, though? Yeah,
I mean, he's going to have to go in knowing, like, hey, this is going to be a fight.
Yeah.
But the good thing is their defensive line isn't that good right now because they're missing some key pieces. Mm-hmm. So with any good offensive line like we have, then it's going to come down to, can you give him time? Can you keep him off his back? Which I think they will, because the matchup here, the offensive line versus defensive line, is really pro Colts.
Yeah.
So I don't see that being a problem. It's going to come down to Anthony Richardson on offense. And on the defensive side, it's going to come down to our defensive line.
They have a really good offensive line. So if our defensive line can't beat their line, and it comes down to our secondary.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I mean, they're going to score points at will.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm already expecting them to just score on every drive, whether get 3 or 7 or whatever. But
I'm okay with them scoring 7 times as long as it's all field goals.
Right. Or if we come back and do the same thing against their weak defense right now.
Yeah.
Take advantage of the issues they're having and the injuries, I mean.
This could be a really good game. I'm really looking forward to it. Again, it's their Indiana Knights jerseys. It's at home. A lot of things here are in play again for that trap game feel. So,
this could be the upset of the year. I mean, there's always one.
There's always one, and I hope it's the Colts that do it. They need to keep pace with the Texans. They really do. So,
yeah. How awesome would it be for the Colts to end up being Vanderbilt this year? That was the biggest upset of the year. I'd like the Colts to upset the Lions, have the biggest upset of the year.
There you go. But I think that's a good place to wrap it. I got to get these kids to bed early morning. So yeah, if you're still here, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Thanks to Gremlin for being in the comments. We always like talking to you, man. It's good to see you. Good to see you still active, helping us out with that algorithm. And everybody else,
the viewers too. Like, just because you're watching doesn't mean you can't interact.
We're not shy. We'll put your comments up. We'll talk to you. But yeah, make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. I'm constantly putting out. I mean, we're doing 2 a week. We're doing shorts, stuff like that. I'm over on TikTok, Instagram. Sometimes I'll do a little different short on TikTok so it's not all the same thing. But yeah, make sure you show some love, do some likes, share, subscribes on those, and head over to Kingmaker_DFF, do the same. And tomorrow we're going to be doing this AFC South show, so make sure you check me out over there and do the same over there. Just while you're there, just click all the buttons.
Yeah. Hey, if you're a Texans fan, we've got that in this podcast network. Go check it out.
Sure. Yeah, that Real Texas team over there. I'm sure DeGremlin already knows about it. He's a regular. But if he hasn't, subscribe. Hopefully we'll be coming back to you on Monday on a Victory Monday. That'd be really nice. But either way, we'll see y'all Monday. Be good people. See y'all next time. Go Colts.